This is All India Radio. Whispers of the Wind. All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar presents science serial Whispers of the Wind, based on understanding and managing climate change and global warming. Today's episode number 35 is an interactive program based on listeners' letters.
Hello listeners, and welcome to this interactive edition of the science serial Whispers of the Wind. Well, not the best of times to come together to discuss climate change. What with the streets of many parts of Delhi and NCR filled with smog outside, creating potential visibility conditions. But anyhow, the beauty of meeting people here in the studio to discuss elements of climate change and other things is a pleasure in itself. Gentlemen, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Nakul Parashar and Dr. B.K. Tyagi with us. Before we move on, today one has in mind quite a few points on a very interesting event that took place in Kolkata, and that's the International Science Festival. We'll come to that later. We also have quite a few interesting letters sent in by listeners. But the first question that strikes me, and my listeners may kindly forgive me if I start either sneezing or coughing. I almost came to the studio wearing a face mask. Tyagiji and Parasharji, what is happening in the northern part of India?
I think that's not a new thing. With the change of temperature, the mercury is going down. And also like the carbon emission or the thing is more now. But I think the geography of Delhi, it has, something to be
and one is so envious of Jaipur because this doesn't happen in 250 kilometers away.
Yes. So actually, as you know, that Delhi is always said like it don't have its own climate.
Always
and it depends on what is happening in surrounding states. So Delhi is affected. Same thing is here, because if you look at the topography of Delhi, you will find it's like a sink. So anything which is happening is collected here and troubling us. So I think you cannot say like the Delhi people are solely responsible for that, but there are other things which are happening in the surrounding is equally responsible for that. But yes, as a message is that I think we have to be careful. Immediately it's not avoidable, and a few days more we have to be with this situation
to
and
bear with it.
Yeah.
Nakulji, you've been to so many places in the world. I mean, how do you look at this if you keep it in the international perspective? Have you seen cities like these outside?
Well, my Chinese experience had been in the years 2013, 14, 15, 16. I used to work in those areas as well, and I've seen much worse conditions. However,
could be similar reasons.
There could be similar reasons. There could be other reasons as well. But somehow, I mean, it's a repeat of what I had seen. So it's a deja vu for me. And as far as what's happening today, as Tyagiji rightly said, we are prey to all that happens in and around the city. It's not just that we are responsible for it. The people who live here are responsible for it. We try to do all the best that we do. We have a number of schemes that you've heard of, right? We have lessening down the vehicles on the road. We're trying to...
awareness increase.
And also this year, relatively, the sound pollution, the noise pollution, and the crackers that used to create was relatively lesser. Despite this, we were all expecting the levels to come down. We were expecting that we would have a fresh, much breathable air this year. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. Reasons galore. We all know about what's happening. And I think this is something that unless we get much more alert, much more cautious, much more receptive to all of this that's happening, we're not going to see a much better 2020 of this kind. So anyway, I guess all of us are affected. All of us feel the heat of what's happening.
Especially children.
Right. And I know. In my house, where I have, in my place where I live, the sale of room purifiers has increased. It used to be in one room. It has now gotten second room, third room, fourth room, and now it's gone much beyond that. We have people around.
What happened with air conditioners once upon a time?
Exactly. That's what's happening with the purchase of air purifiers as well.
I'm sure much is being done in the straw burning area, the parali that's called in local parlance. I'm sure work is being done, counter the after effects of straw burning. So one can only hope that we take on a more positive trajectory now in terms of pollution and the entire smog affair that Delhi has to
I think
deal
here
with.
this burning of the straw itself is giving a challenge to scientists also, because providing an appropriate technological solution is
Feasible.
Just now, to which the farmers are habituated is burning that straw in the field. It's easy, it's economical for them, and they are retaining the mineral content in the soil. If we provide similar solution in a very short time, which can be converted, then only it will be acceptable. Otherwise, it will be continue to like that. So we need a appropriate technology in terms of which is accepted by the farmers.
One keeps on reading about new contraptions like happy seeding and happy seeding machines, and efforts are being done, but possibly it feels so bad because you can't entirely blame the farmers also. That's one thing which
that's why I'm
they
saying,
do it out of sheer helplessness.
Because it's a compulsion for them. They have no other alternative, viable alternative, which is practicable for them, keeping in their working condition, and because they have to need to make their farm ready for the next crop. So if you say leave it for 20 days, that it will be converted automatically into a manure, that's not a feasible solution. I think we need to come out with something.
You're absolutely right. It's a biodegradable product. It will take its own time, and the time between two crops is a critical factor for a farmer. Commercially, it's not viable. I think it's time when the agricultural scientists all over the place should have gotten up. They should have brought in technologies that would have decomposed the whole thing much faster, would have it converted into something. And there are byproducts from these stubbles that we keep burning could have been taken care of. And there's a lot of commercial value that could have been thought of. There's a lot of hard cardboard that we get generated. There's a lot of other things that can be made out of it. And that's how all of this could be thought about it. And there's a huge content. There's a huge amount of stubble that gets out. And all that we need is to somehow make it commercially viable. The concept of converting all this scrap into something practically realizable, practically feasible, and a commercially viable product is the need of the hour, and that should help take care of all these problems. It's just not for us, it's for those people who burn it. They are the most affected themselves. And it's ironical that despite having seen 3-4 seasons of this kind, having seen the levels of pollution going higher and higher, we've been trying to blame the agricultural side of it rather than finding solutions to it. I think it's time scientists, technocrats should have come forth much.
True. So let's hope the whispers of the wind that come in from the northern parts of Delhi whisper better things into our ears than what is happening right now.
That's right.
Now, coming to the piece de resistance of this particular program, I call it so because I personally could not attend it. I attended the press conference that preceded
in Delhi.
Delhi. It was such a grand press conference that one was tempted to be in Kolkata for the India International Science Festival, but preoccupations. What I now want both of you to do is, for people like me or listeners who have not been able to go there, I want both of you to create pictures of the festival and with the answer to my first question at all. Normally when you talk of events connected with science, you normally say outreach programs or very formal. This is being called a festival. A festival brings in pictures of many more things than just pure science.
Correct.
So, please tell us more about it.
Science, as we all say, and has been normally conceived as a very dry and drab subject. And we have conferences where scientists come, talk, go. There are people where they come for seminars, they deliver lectures, high PowerPoint presentations, no matter how interesting that they want to make. But still, the facts are facts, and projecting the facts in a way where people can understand is a challenge. Hence, it was important to have a combination of something where people could, learn, understand, and get attracted to the facets of science much more nicely, much more suavely, much more happily. And that is only possible when you have a Mela kind of a feeling, when you have a festival kind of, carnival sort of a feeling. So, a mix of both was something that the India International Science Festival this year had. It had 28 events, 7 venues, and had a lot of things that happened. I mean, the statistics, if we were to start, I hope these 30 minutes won't be enough to talk about.
The number of events is mind-boggling.
Indeed.
To add on to that, what Dr. Parashar has said, because science generally, the stereotype image, it was an attempt to break that image that science is everywhere, science is for everybody.
Absolutely.
And even I'll give you an example, like there was a art and craft, an artisan event was also there, where those artisans or artists who has won the President Award, many of them were invited to display their product and their activities. So now if I myself interacted with few of them, so I met an artist who made those big idols of wood. So then the science which he was explaining was the selection
in his own
of
words.
the wood. Yes, the selection of wood. You cannot make these kind of thing with any wood. So starting, and then also the age of that wood. So that was the science. We call it a folk science, which never came into forefront when we do those outreach and all that. Then we are talking always the big science. So
using jargonized language.
Yes. So this was the whole idea. And in each event, no doubt that we had those events also where those frontline science or high science was being discussed. But as you said, we named it as a Mela festival. So it was the celebration of science, which was for all people.
But my question is, did you find ordinary folk also kind of looking at things curiously in their own scientific manner?
Yes, it was perfect. I mean, as we said, this was about more than 20,000 registered participants who had come, and we had a footfall of more than 2 million people. So you can jolly well imagine we have people walking on the streets getting attracted to the large mega science expo that we had. And what Dr. Tyagi just spoke about, the artisans and the craftsmen that had come with traditional knowledge were the center of attraction. They created bells. A person who creates an ironsmith who works in the villages understands the kind of frequency that he needs to tune for different bells that he has to create.
And he's never learned physics.
Never understood this. As he rightly said, he was talking about the wood to be selected. And despite all of this that he has learned from his father learned from his father, and I mean, generation after generation, they have been working on this. They have gotten that skill and understanding of choosing what kind of wood. And especially, we normally go by the rings of the, bark when we cut and understand the age of a tree. But for him, it wasn't that. And he could estimate and tell you all of this. Besides this, as I said, there were 28 different events. And what Dr. Tyagi rightly said, this was a Mela, this was a Kumbh of a kind where people from all walks of life, the science touches us in every moment, every place. So science and technology both together, the facets of these science and technology were made available to every person. There was an event which was meant for every person in the society, whether it be a woman, whether it be a student, a college student, or whether it's a craftsman, whether it's a startup guy, whether it's a farmer. We had an event for agricultural farmers as well. So we had scientists coming and talking to them. We had a lady person who was a national awardee and was one of the progressive farmers as well. So there was almost every part, every section of society was touched. Nobody left behind in the society.
Okay, I would like to add one more anecdote to what Dr. Parashar is saying, because we say science for all. So I need my requirement from science is very specific. I may not need what the product which are coming into the market. Like I'm living in a village and all my animal, my total herd go for grazing in the morning.
Okay.
And there's a one animal who always had that. So I need a bell which produce a particular frequency which is followed by all my herd. So in the evening they are coming back to the same house. So there is no intermingling of those animals of the entire village. So this is science, and it may not come from a big lab, but it is coming from our traditional knowledge system. Now you can correlate the entire
Absolutely,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You are absolutely creating pictures. And I believe besides art and craft and other aspects of science, literature also was touched there.
Yeah, that was science literature. Generally, we said science is believed to be very dry subject, and we have only some article or those hardcore research papers. But how, when we have to connect science to the people, it has to be in the form of literature. Generally, literature and scientific literature are totally different. So how with the making a scientific concept understandable in a popular language, not only scientific but in a literary term, using those analogies where a person can correlate, can understand that. So it was the effort. So where discussing science with the poetry, with the drama, or whatever the different format is, which is again for common man. Not only among those you can
Experts
say or specialized people, even not for a student. Even if you are not a student or you are not a person from science background,
You should be able to understand.
that literature is for you.
And this whole literature festival was coined a name, and that actually came from Dr. Tyagiji's team, which is called Vigyanika.
Vigyanika.
So you heard from the horse's mouth about the Vigyanika.
And besides that, now let's come to the purely scientific part of
The festival.
Are there certain salient points quickly which we could touch upon and which were different than what happens normally?
Right. So there were a number of conferences, there were a number of seminars, there were a number of people, subject matter experts that came from different parts of not only from the country but different parts of the world together. We had people from Nepal, we had people from Maldives, Bhutan, and from neighboring areas as well as from UK, the European continent as well. There were a lot of deliberations, there were a lot of thoughts, panelists spoke about it. We had a big, huge event called the Young Scientists Conference, in which there were new ideas and thoughts.
And you had the maximum registration. More than 2,000.
Right. That's right. And all these participants, had brought in their posters. So there was big rush for registrants who had come with their posters to be posted around. So we had more than 1,500 posters pasted at the same time being adjudged by a senior jury, which went around, spoke to the young scientists, and they were able to present their papers. And a number of new thoughts came from it. Similarly, amongst these 28 events, we had a startup conclave as well. We had new ideas where people had come forth to talk about new ideas, thoughts. They had brought their samples, they had brought their models. We had a students engineering model where we had more than 100 plus students models, engineering models, which were at display. They were adjudged by various vice chancellors of technological institutes, and it was surprising to see that the story actually doesn't end here. We had bunch of exhibits. We have 350 exhibitors from different parts of science and technology institutes.
Any pertaining to climate change?
Yes. And since it's all our program is about climate change, there we were able to see a number of new ideas and thoughts about climate change. We had new devices people had come up with. We had a Bharat Nirman, where one of the problem areas was climate change, and people had brought in samples to show. There was young students who actually won over people who've been working in this area for long. Their ideas were spontaneous, new, innovative, creative, and something which were practically realizable. Because unless we have everything very theoretical and it's not practically realizable, it's meaningless. For us, it is very important. So I guess this was a complete Mela which talked about and gave all of us a lot of new thoughts and ideas that emanated from various conferences.
Okay.
So we had people from different forms of medicine. We had people
Health
sciences. We had people from Ayush who talked about yoga, homeopathy, Unani, Ayurveda, and others as well. Similarly, we had surgeons and subject matter experts from the allopathic side as well. So it was a complete, I would say.
Yeah.
One was touched to see, I'm relating that to what you said just now. I saw one segment on Divyangs also.
Yes. It was a platform on one side. Like, this is a very specific target group, and the entire scientific community who were there, it was a realization on their part that they have to do something for them because they need so very specific. And also there was a demonstration of those technology which are being used by them, which have improved their efficiency in terms of their output, and also like giving a message to the society that how the technology can help, because there are still there is a in the mind of as a social level it is still think that it's an burden if a child is born with some disability. So it was also dispelling this myth that it's not, technology can able them and they will be equally efficient like a normal child.
Well, we in Whispers of the Wind, we now come to a crucial phase where we actually listen to whispers from our listeners. And one such, through their letters and emails, of course. What I have in my hand right now is a wonderful letter from a 58-year-old farmer.
Yeah.
His name is Ram Bhagat, and he's written to us from Hisar,
Haryana.
and he has expressed his gratitude to us for creating content which even a person on the street can understand.
Yeah.
So I think that's, by any standards, that's wonderful compliment.
Indeed,
for the
indeed
program.
it is.
Thank you,
Ram
Ram
Bhagat.
Bhagat ji, for being a part of this program, and your input is really very important for us. And I think that was the whole effort we were trying to correlate the hardcore science, so that if what we are communicating in such a way that everybody, because if we don't understand the science of climate change, I think because it will be affecting all of us, whether
Right.
I know science or not, but it's going to affect us.
That's true.
So to be a participant in the measures which has been taken, it is very necessary that if we understand that science, so our participation will be more meaningful and fruitful.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Any more notable letters that we could mention today?
Yeah, but there are few names, I think, which those letters we have received, and as a part of our some prize. In the sense, I want to now announce that the kit which we have designed as a part of this program is ready, and
Okay.
I hope within 1 month, I think all our listeners will start getting that. The prize winners will start getting those kits.
That's great. This is Ramdas Chandravanshi. Let me mention the other name, Ashish.
Yeah.
He's a PhD student, and his subject is agriculture.
He is from Delhi only, and he is also regularly listening our program.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Then there's Aarti Sharma. Then Kuldeep Trivedi from all the way from Nalanda.
Nalanda, yeah.
Then there's Vibhuti Ranjan. Then this is Arya from Patna. And finally, this is Ankur Yadav from Mainpuri.
Mainpuri. Yes, Ankur is our regular, listener, not only listener, but he is keep on writing us.
Thank you,
very
Ankur.
regularly. Yeah, and only I think again. I would like to repeat, like many of those our listener who has sent their answers through mail, they have not written their postal address.
So once more requesting
Yeah.
people that whenever you write into us, it's a pleasure for us. It gives us satisfaction. But we have limitations. Kindly mention your complete details when you write into us. We shall wait for more.
Yeah.
With that, gentlemen, we conclude this special interactive session of our science serial, our mega science serial, Whispers of the Wind. Nakulji, Tyagiji, it was wonderful having you here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Whispers of the Wind. You were listening to the 35th episode of this science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar. This interactive program was based on listeners' letters. Participant experts were Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan-Prasar, Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Senior Scientist and Coordinator of the Science Serial, moderated by Manoj Mayankar, presented by Dilip Jha, and assisted by Naveen Kumar. Our address is Science Serial, Whispers of the Wind, Director Vigyan-Prasar, A50 Institutional Area, Sector 62, Noida 201309. You can also write on our email ID radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Please do write or mail us your full name, age and profession. If associated with Science Club, do let us know the membership of your club. If you have any query or question, do not hesitate to write to us. We will be back again with the next episode of this science serial, Whispers of the Wind, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye.